Hello, this is Brendan Wilmington from the Left Turn Network, and welcome back to another Lumen Stock Car Invitational Amateur Series race. We are in season number 4, race number 10, and we are taking on the half-mile concrete racetrack at the Bristol Motor Speedway. And this track has put up quite a few chaotic races in the past. Of course, this has been the home of the LSCI All-Star Race for quite a few years. This year we're not doing the All-Star Race, but we're still having the amateur cars go here under the lights here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. I believe this is the first time the amateur cars have actually raced under lights at Bristol. They usually race at the daytime, but again, since that spot was freed up by the vacant All-Star Race, decided to put them under the lights here for the amateur series. And a lot of interesting stuff has happened so far in the first 9 races of the season. And this race, of course, being very notable for its chaos. Last year, Lance Holman managed to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat and get Thunderbolt Motorsports their first win, and so far their only win as an organization. But going to be interesting to see what happens here today. Let's take a look at the point situation first and foremost. We've got, I believe, 8 races left until the final 3 cutoff, and the 4 drivers that are currently in the top 4 points right now are Duncan Ward, who is on a run of 3 consecutive podium finishes and 2 wins in a row. Currently leads the points by a 38-point margin over Kaylee Maxwell in second. Mauricia Webelst is in third. She is 7 points above 5th place. And Bridget Brousseau is 3 points above 5th place. Isabella Fitzmaurice is the 5th place car. Latanya Gray right behind her at 184. She currently holds the first wild card due to her win at Rockingham. And then all the way down in 12th in points right now is Stephen Jones, who currently holds onto the second wild card due to his win at Aguas Calientes. And Stephen Jones is starting on the pole here today at Bristol, so that's a great sign for him. Let's go ahead and go over your starting lineup. Like I mentioned, Stephen Jones is starting on pole in the number 67 car, looking for that second win of the season to put himself firmly in championship contention. And alongside him is the number 17 car of Gianni McJasmina. Row number 2 is the 00 of Maria Gonzalez, as well as the 66 car of Kaylee Maxwell, second in points, trying to make up that gap that Duncan Ward opened up over the last 3 weeks. Then we got the 16 of Steve Brack, Big Yale, with a good starting spot here. He's had a struggle of a season, so it's good to see him up there. Alongside him is the 40 of Takamoto Aya. Then it's Isabella Fitzmaurice in the 75, still looking for that first win, but she's looking pretty good on points right now. She's got to jump into the top 4 or get a win, though. She wants to be in championship contention. Alongside her is the number 19 car of Henry Wall. And rounding out the top 5 is the other HRC Vision Motorsports car right behind her teammate. It's the 20 of Kasumi Takashi, who also has a win this season, trying to catch up to Stephen Jones for that second wild card. And alongside her is the 41 car of Spencer Rallison. Couple of Fords in row 6, Walter Bowser and Alan Marshall. And then you got the 14 of Latanya Gray and the 72 of Bridget Brousseau. Number 4, that's Annie Baker, alongside the 95 of Bart Seiler. Got the 71 of Ray Wickham and the 97 of Cassie Jones. And then a pair of Fords back here, Ben Tachenko in the 6th and the 96 of Dawson Lynn. There's your points leader, Duncan Ward, starting deep in the field here at Bristol, but on the inside lane, so he looks to benefit a little bit off the start, but he's still got a ways to go if he wants to get his 3rd consecutive victory. And alongside him is the number 80 of Jean-Martin Boucher. Yappy Malixon in the number 10, alongside the 50 car of Oscar Duval. Malixon made her debut last race at Evergreen, did not have too good of a run, looking for redemption this week. Then it's the 15 of Lucas Forrester and the 2 car of Sky and Jetta. Got the 44 of Mercedes Washington and the 77 of Lance Holman, the winner of this race last year. This race, I believe, was dominated by Alnita Kim last year, but she lost it in the closing stages of the race. We'll have to see what ends up happening here. Of course, Kim not in the race this year, as she is now racing in the Cup Series. And on the final row here is Richard Mackley in the 59 and Mauricia Webelst in the 21. This is not the qualifying effort Webelst wanted. She's going to have a lot of spots she has to make up in order to try and keep herself in the top 4. Of course, having 2 wins, though, makes her pretty secure, but you never know what could happen here at Bristol, and if she has a bad race here, that could hurt her down the line. But 84 laps here today, should be only 1 pit stop on this half-mile high-banked oval. It's very possible that we get multiple cautions in this race. In fact, it almost seems like that's what's going to happen. Almost seems inevitable. So we're going to see what ends up happening, what kind of chaos unfolds here at the Bristol Motor Speedway.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the field will roll off here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. No mechanical failures there on the start. It will be Stephen Jones and Jamie McJasmina leading them here to the green flag. Pace car will pull off at turn number 4. And we are green from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Stephen Jones will lead lap number 1, followed by Casty Jones. No, Jamie McJasmina rather, in the number 17. 66 Kaylee Maxwell in 3rd. Takamoto Aya moved up to 4th on that start, and now trying to go underneath for 3rd. And Aya will take the spot, so up into the podium positions for the number 40 already. But Stephen Jones is opening up a decent-sized lead here at the start, and you can see how fast these laps can go by. 16-second lap times on average here at Bristol. So you really get around this thing pretty fast. Jones is opening up a big lead, but as we've seen at this track, it's very easy to lose those big leads as well. Because you'll have cautions, and then even then, if you drift outside of the track, or outside of the racing surface, I should say, the main line, you can lose a lot of time in the corners, and that really allows everyone else to catch up to you. So even though Jones is opening up to about a 2-second lead already, that lead could go away in a heartbeat, and Takamoto Aya is flying through the field here off the start. She's going to move up into P2, getting past the 17 of Jamie McJasmina. That'll put Kaylee Maxwell right behind in 4th. Maria Gonzalez trying to hold on to 5th place from the 75 of Isabella Fitzmaurice. Steve Brack, Spencer Rowson, caution is out. We've got a yellow. Oh, Alan Marshall. And the 10 of Yappy Malikson with a hard crash in turn number 4. Gonna see if anyone else was involved in that. Oh, and Stephen Jones just ran into the back of Mauricia Webelst, and Mauricia is not gonna like that. There you see the skid marks in turns 3 and 4. Webelst, who already had to start at the back, is not gonna come in and pit. It looks like she's trying to get her lap back, actually. Trying to get around the pace car, so that's the reason why she didn't come in and pit, but... boy, Stephen Jones just runs into the back of her, just not paying attention. The 00 has some front-end damage as well. Maria Gonzalez. Boy, and now Jones is going to have to repair that front-end damage. So a lot happening here in the first 10 laps. That looked like a pretty big accident. Alan Marshall's definitely out of the race. And I believe that also took Yappy Malikson out of the race. It did. So the second straight race for Yappy Malikson where she's been involved in an accident. It's been a tough debut for the Australian driver. But Takamoto Aya is going to get the lead out of all of this. She did not come in and pit, along with the 66 of Kaylee Maxwell, the 00 who has front-end damage, Maria Gonzalez, and then a few of these other leaders here did not come in. Looks like Rhea Wickham is coming down. No, she's rejoining the pack. It appears that she might have lost a lap in the pits. And unlike most tracks, this track does not have any wave arounds or free passes because the waving is kind of broken here, as I found out in the first attempt of this race, but so it'll be pretty difficult for those cars to get back onto the lead lap. But Takamoto Aya is your race leader. We're going to go ahead and show you what happened to bring out the first caution of the race here at Bristol, and then we'll get back to the racing here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Well, this was a bizarre accident here. This was really two separate incidents that just happened to coincide at the very end. You see Alan Marshall in an all-star speed team sandwich there between Spencer Rallison and Latanya Gray, and never want to go 3 wide off of turn 2, and he ends up getting turned by the 14 down into the inside wall. He's going to slide here on the apron, but then going into turn number 3, as Marshall is sliding, here comes Yappy Malikson, who I guess was running high to avoid it and then just missed the corner. Got into the side of Rhea Wickham, and she is going to slide up into the outside wall here in turn number 3. Lucas Forster's already on the outside lane, nowhere for him to go. He piles into the 10 of Malikson. The 2 and the 21 are just going to miss it. And then here comes Alan Marshall after recovering from that spin, and he just runs straight into the side of Yappy Malikson in the 10. Not entirely sure what he was thinking there. Maybe he didn't see her, but I mean, he just recovered from that spin, and he was going to be fine until he ran into the side of the 10 car there, and that's going to end up taking out Malikson, Marshall, and also the 15 of Lucas Forster, all involved in that accident. They all end up retiring from the race because of it. Just a tough break there for Malikson and Marshall. Really just kind of 2 avoidable accidents there, but that's how Bristol is sometimes. You get a lot of carnage here. Welcome back here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, wrapping up caution number 1 here at the half-mile oval. 3 cars are out of the race. Yappy Malikson in the number 10 car. The 15 of Lucas Forster, I'm not quite sure what happened to him, but he is now out of the race. He had a 120-second pit stop before pulling it in. And then the 99 of Alan Marshall. Forster may have been involved in that incident. Of course, you would have seen that in the replay, where you do the replays after, so I don't quite know who was in that crash other than the 99 and the 10, but pace car will pull in. Takamoto Aya leads them back to the green. I believe the top 6 all stayed out under the caution, so 7th on back is going to be with fresh tires, and here comes the 75 of Isabella Fitzmaurice making a move on the 17 of Jamie McJasmina. Not able to find the grip down in turns 3 and 4. They really straddled the apron in that corner, so it's a bit tough to pass in 3 and 4. But up the track, around goes the 71 of Wickham, who was off the lead lap. Right in front of the field, big hit. Cassidy Jones and Bridget Bristol pile in. Heavy damage to the 97, and she's trying to get into the pits. She's going to run into the 59, and she's going to miss the pit entry. Bristol with heavy amounts of damage, and the caution is out for the 2nd time. Boy, Bristol can be a test of endurance for sure, and a lot of drivers getting taken out in that. Rhea Wickham had fallen a lap down under the caution, and then she ends up spinning herself out. She's won at this track before, back a couple of seasons ago, driving for Riverbend Racing, but Henry Wall has a lot of damage in the 19 on the front end. Might have gotten into the back of somebody. They're going to rip off the front end and send him back out. Still out on the racetrack, the 4 of Annie Baker and the 96 of Dawson Lynn appear to have not pitted under that last caution. Marie Chevelst is a lap down, so she's close to getting her lap back the old-fashioned way, even despite the rear end damage. That could definitely help her out. Lots of different pit strategies going on under these cautions. Ben Tachenko up to 3rd. Bart Seiler, Oscar Duval rounding out the top 5. And it looks like the 21 will now come in and pit. That should cycle her to the back of the field now, so she will not take that opportunity to get her lap back. But a lot happening here off the start of this race. Our 2nd caution of the day, and it has taken out quite a few other cars. 3 more to add to the pile in the garage area. We'll go ahead and show you what happened, and then we'll bring you back to the restart here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Well, here you see from the helicopter cam the accident that brought out the 2nd caution of the race. Rhea Wickham just overdrives the exit of turn 2 right into the side of Spencer Rallison's 2nd accident in a row that Rallison has been near the start of, but I don't think he started either of them. He's just been in the area. And Wickham's going to back it up into the outside wall. I mean, Wickham's a lap down. She's trying to get herself back on the lead lap, but she really shouldn't be racing the lead lap cars like that. So ended up spinning herself out, and most of the field gets by, but Cassidy Jones is unable to. And then Bridget Bristol also gets a piece as well as Bristol slides down the track. And here you see up here, Cassidy Jones and Henry Wall both ending up getting damage. Wall got the damage from running into the back of the 97. And that's just an unfortunate accident there. Most of the field was able to get by the spun 71, but the 71 was still sideways in the middle of traffic. So it was only a matter of time before someone ended up hitting her. And just a tough race for Rhea Wickham. Cassidy Jones. Jones almost turns herself again, trying to get down into the pit lane, but Richard Mackley is there. So she actually had to go around and take another lap on the apron before pulling the car in because she could not make the pit road entry there. Yeah, just unfortunate accident there. Rhea Wickham with really a tough season all around, but just another tough race to add on to that. And Cassidy Jones, this is going to severely affect her point standings. And Bridget Bristol was 4th in points heading into this race, so she's almost certainly going to fall outside of the top 4 and out of a final 6 spot. Welcome back here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, the last great Coliseum. Wrapping up caution number 2, and it has definitely been a battle so far. 6 cars already out of the race, 3 of them from this most recent accident, the 71 of Rhea Wickham, the 72 of Bridget Bristol, and the 97 of Cassidy Jones. That wreck had a lot of championship implications considering Bristol was 4th in points heading into this race. We've already seen several drivers up towards the top of the points getting involved in incidents. Of course, Mauricia Vevelst was one of them. She was hit from behind by Stephen Jones under the first caution. But now we are back under green here on lap 20, and it is Annie Baker for Perez Racing who's going to lead them to the green. We got quite a few drivers up here that have not had that great of seasons. Kind of cycled out in the strategy. But here comes Dawson Lynn trying to take a look underneath Baker. Baker slides up the track. Lynn's going to have the run through turn 2. Can he keep it going in turn 3? Oh, the 44 just came in and pitted, but we still got a battle for the lead. It looks like Baker will hold him off going through turns 3 and 4, so Lynn will slide back to 2nd. And these 3 Fords right here have struggled this season. Oh, Lynn is out of control, but he's going to save it. And the 6 car of Ben Tachenko is trying to now get underneath Dawson Lynn. Lynn washed up the track at turn number 4. Oh, watch out in the back. The 44 was rejoining the track. They're 3 wide. Duncan Ward's going to put Shelby McJasmine in the wall and himself. He's going to run into the 43, and he's going to save it. A lot happening there for Duncan Ward, our points leader, but he was able to get out of it relatively okay. He lost a couple spots, but that could have been a lot worse there for the 26. He had to put the 17 into the wall to do it, but managed to keep it clean. But Annie Baker in first. Ben Tachenko did make the pass for 2nd on Dawson Lynn. Bart Seiler up in 4th. Appalachian Motorsports has had a tough season so far. This is really not what we've expected this team to be. They've been the dominant team in amateurs for each of the past 3 seasons, but they have yet to get a victory this year. And Bart Seiler has had a major fall off from last season. Oscar Duval losing a spot to Steve Brack there. Duval's actually had a better year than last year. He is the best of the Appalachia cars right now. But he still isn't doing all that great. Not up to the standards that team has. But Seiler is looking to have a good run here today at the team's home track here in Bristol, Tennessee. And Seiler is really trying to make the most of this restart here as he's now gotten past Dawson Lynn for 3rd and is trying to get past the 6 of Tachenko for 2nd. Tachenko's going to slide up the track, but Seiler's not close enough to make a move. But Annie Baker is absolutely gone. She's got a 4-second lead. And like I mentioned back at the start, that lead can definitely evaporate as it goes on. If Baker starts making some mistakes, or even if Baker starts catching lap traffic. And then, of course, we can't rule out the possibility of a caution, as we've already had 2 of them in the early stages of this race. So Baker's looking pretty good right now, but has by no means won it by now. We're not even halfway through this thing. Whoa, the 16 of Steve Brack just got loose, and the caution is out, just like you said. LaTonya Gray and Maria Gonzalez appears to have been involved in this one. More points implications. LaTonya Gray 6th in points, currently holding on to the first wildcard spot. She was involved in this one. It's a lot of damage on the Great Clip Chevrolet. And other than the 14 and the 00, I don't know of anyone else who got involved in that. Looks like the 50 is going to stay out. I think a lot of these drivers pitted under one of the prior 2 yellows. And most of the leaders are going to come in this time. Slow stop for Steve Brack, though. He finally packs that thing in full of fuel and leaves the pit lane. Dawson Lynn actually jumped Annie Baker in the pits, but they're all going to line up at the back. So the strategy did not work out for these guys. The 00 currently scored an 18th place. Is on the tail end of the lead lap, along with LaTonya Gray in the 14. We'll see if we can wave them around back to the lead lap, but you know, we've been having issues with that, so we'll just see what ends up happening with them. Kasumi Takashi is scored as the race leader. Duncan Ward is scored as 2nd place. All of these cars are 1 lap down. So this could be an interesting restart here with Takashi having a big buffer between herself and 2nd place, but 3rd caution of the day coming out involving LaTonya Gray. We'll show you what happened, and then we'll get you back to the restart here at Bristol. 3rd caution of the day happens in turn number 3. LaTonya Gray running with Takamoto Aya there, trying to get around the outside of the 40 car, and the 40 just goes up the track, puts the 14 into the wall, and then also puts herself in the wall as the 14 spins after hitting that outside safer barrier. Just racing really close with the 40 car. The 40 probably got upset going into the corner, and there's Maria Gonzalez also piling in. She ends up spinning out. 14 goes into a spin cycle there. I'm surprised that LaTonya is able to keep going after that impact, but 00 ends up sideways as well, and here comes the 4 of Annie Baker trying to miss it. Oh, she's going to pile into it. Just going to clip the 00 of Maria Gonzalez, but it looks like other than that, no harm, no foul. But this tough instant there for LaTonya Gray, that could cost her a lot of points for sure. She is 6th in points, trying to get back inside the top 4. And she has that win that can save her, but I mean, I know LaTonya Gray. She's definitely not going to be settling for a wild card. Really, she's not going to want to, but just a tough situation there for LaTonya Gray and Maria Gonzalez. Welcome back here at Bristol, wrapping up our 3rd caution of the race. The tail end cars did wave around to the back of the line, so that's good news. Kasumi Takashi still has 3 lap cars, though, in between herself and Duncan Ward in 2nd place. But of course, Ward trying to go for his 4th podium in a row, and potentially his 3rd win in a row if he can get up to the front. So he will be more than happy with a 2nd place for sure. Takamoto Aya has been fast all day. She is 3rd, Jamie McJasmine in 4th, and Stephen Jones in 5th. So a lot of the drivers that started up front have ended up cycling up here. Green flag is back in the air, and Takashi did not get the greatest of restarts. Walter Bowser might get under her. And if all those lap cars are able to train underneath, then that could be big news there for Takashi. But Takashi's able to pull away through turns 3 and 4 and hold on to that lead. '19 of Henry Walls right in the middle of this pack. Vebels just bumped him up the track. I was going to point out how he's probably off the pace from not having a front end, so he could be causing some issues in the mid-pack, and there you saw it with the 21 of Vebels signing up at the track, and Takashi just lost the lead to Duncan Ward in the 26. So once again, the Scottish driver has found himself in the lead, but he's got a trio of now tail end of the lead lap cars in front of him, so he can't get away too far. We might get a very crazy battle for the lead here if this goes green for a while. Takamoto Aya trying to slide into the second position, and here comes Takashi. It looks like she might have hit the wall, and that's what cost her all those cars in between. But they are now side by side. The 66 goes sideways off of turn 2, but she's going to save it, hanging on to the 7th position. Takashi was unable to get by Duncan Ward that last time by, and now Takamoto Aya is running up to the back of Takashi, trying to take the second spot, but has not found an opportunity yet. McJasmina up the track. It seems like everybody's gotten into the wall at least a little bit, but she's going to lose a spot to Isabella Fitzmaurice there, who's going to move up to 4th. And this is big points for Fitzmaurice, considering that Bristol got involved in that accident and is out of the race. Fitzmaurice is probably going to move into the top 4 after this race. That's going to be huge news for that 75. 26 up the track, but the 20 was unable to take advantage, and Ward stays in the lead. Aya's still peeking under that 20. She keeps poking the nose down there every now and again, but is not able to make much of a run. There you see it again in turn 2. That's what Duncan Ward wants to see. Those 3 cars that are now back on the lead lap have pulled far away from Duncan Ward, so Ward now has some room to pull away if he's able to. He washes up out of turn 2. This racetrack is very slick. That'll bring the 20 right back into it. Takashi trying to look for her 2nd win of the year, and that would help her tremendously in the wildcard race. Being behind Stephen Jones entering this race. Jones currently running in 8th in the 67 car. Oh, Ward's going to overdrive turn 4. This could give an opportunity for Takashi. Will she be able to make the pass in 1 and 2? She's going to put the 26 up the track, and Takashi's going to move back in front in the number 20. And it's interesting to note Takashi's win earlier this year was at the Winchester Speedway, which is another high-banked half-mile short track. Whoa! Aya just spun herself out right in front of the 17, and watch out the rest of the field. The 66 gets involved, and we're still crashing into turn number 3. It's the big one at Bristol. Just not a lot of space to avoid the accident, and about half the field just wiped out in turn number 3, including some heavy hitters in the championship. Kaylee Maxwell 2nd in points. Jamie McJasmina, Stephen Jones, both of the front row sitters. Heavy damage on the 40. Richard Mackley was involved. I think I saw Bart Seiler in the crash as well. Mauricia Vebelst has even more damage. Oh, man. Annie Baker with damage in the 4 car. Lance Holman looks like he got into the wall. And lots of cars already retired from the race. We are only going to have 16 cars left in this thing, just about half the field. So we're about 10 laps past halfway. That one took a lot of them out. Bart Seiler, Henry Wall. Oh boy, Ben Tachenko, the 40, the 00, the 67, the 17, the 66. That took out at least half a dozen cars, probably more. And there's even more that are wounded, and I would not be surprised if the 21 brings it in here with the amount of damage on her car, so we might be left with half the field. And who knows, they could maybe try and stick around and run a few more laps, and no, she is out of the race as well. So 15 cars left in this race after that big crash down the back and into turn 3. Lots of hard hits in that one. We're going to show you the replay of what happened. Then we get you back to the restart here at Bristol. Just absolute carnage here in the LSCI Amateur Series. Well, this was a very big one here. Duncan Ward and Takamoto Aya cross paths in turn 2. Aya spins out, crashes into the turn 2 wall, and then comes up right into the path of Jamie McJasmina, and nowhere for her to go. And then as the 40 sits broadside to traffic, Here comes the rest of the field. Very similar to what happened with Rhea Wickham, except this time a lot more cars get involved. There you see Kaylee Maxwell running into the 40, and she is far from the last one. Annie Baker is going to run into the side of the 66. Here comes Stephen Jones piling in. Mauricia Vebels piles in. And several other cars getting swept up here in turn number 3. Henry Wall piles in. Ben Tachenko already ran into the 40 car, and then here comes a whole nother wad of them. Spencer Rallison, Latanya Gray, Steve Brack, Lance Holman, Richard Mackley, Oscar Duval is just going to get a small piece of it. Great job by Jean-Martin Boucher and Dawson Lynn of avoiding that accident. Bart Seiler also getting swept up there in the 95, along with the 00 of Maria Gonzalez. Just a lot happening there in that corner. A lot of cars ended up hitting the 40 as there you see her down on the bottom of the racetrack. We're definitely going to need multiple replays to dissect everything that happened there, but hard crash down the back and into turn 3. It was the big one, and boy, it took out a lot of cars. We got a turn 3 camera set up, full speed for the big one here. You're going to see it start all the way back at turn number 2, right in the distance there. And then you're going to see it all get swept up here into turn number 3 as the cars come sliding at you. Lots of cars involved in that one. And I still don't know if that got all of it or not. Welcome back here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, wrapping up caution number 4 of the night. Hopefully we won't have that many more, considering we don't have as many cars to wreck anymore. Stephen Jones is out of the race. So is the 00 of Maria Gonzalez. Takamoto Aya, Kaylee Maxwell, Jami McJasmina, Richard Mackley, Mauricia Vebelst, oh gosh, Ben Tachenko, Bart Seiler, and Henry Wall were all taken out in the big one. We have 14 cars still in the race and about 30 laps to go, but this is big for Kasumi Takashi and Duncan Ward, who are currently running 1 and 2. Green flag is back in the air. We are back racing here at Bristol. Duncan Ward going to try and stick the nose underneath the 20, but he's unable to find the gap. And Takashi getting a second win would be huge for the wild card. Duncan Ward getting a 3rd consecutive win would be huge for him in terms of trying to win the regular season title. Before we get to the final 3, the 41 of Spencer Rallison's going to hold on to it. And I tell you who this really saves is Latanya Gray. I believe she was in that accident just a little bit, but she didn't get nearly as much damage as most of those cars did, so she's still running and she's in 6th place. I mean, this car is pretty messed up, but she's battling for a top 5 right now, so that accident really helped her out. But here we go, Duncan Ward trying to run down Takashi. Takashi slides up the racetrack, and here comes the 26, and they're going to try and pull away from Isabella Fitzmaurice in 3rd, and Annie Baker in 4th, another damaged car that is still out there running up inside the top 5. Dawson Lynn's car looks pretty clean, so he might eventually find his way around this 4 car, but on a short track, the aero is not quite as important as it would be on a larger track. But here we go. Duncan Ward took the lead away from Takashi, and Takashi's also at risk of losing 2nd to the 75 of Isabella Fitzmaurice, and Ward already has a big lead. That's how fast things change here at Bristol. We were looking away for a couple of laps, and all of a sudden Ward has a 2.5 lead. Trying to win his 3rd consecutive race and firmly establish himself as the best amateur series driver this season. Fitzmaurice will move into 2nd, past the 20 of Takashi. Takashi's knocked down the wall a couple of times, so she might be losing the handling on her race car. But Isabella Fitzmaurice is still looking for her 1st career win in LSCI. She's gotten so close so many times in both series. Of course, lost the photo finish in the Cup Series last year at Talladega. And she's finished 2nd here. She dominated the Atlanta race to start the season, but ended up having to settle for a, I believe, 4th place finish in that one. So you know she's hungry for a win. Ward's lead is ticking away. It was a 2-second lead, now it's a 2.5. Fitzmaurice has stayed out of trouble all day. So that TD Bank Chevrolet is completely clean as she tries to approach the 26 of Duncan Ward. Ward has been into a couple of cars, but overall has done a good job keeping his car clean as well. But that 75 is coming. She is on the way. That lead is now under a second. Checking to see if there's any off-the-pace lap cars, and it appears there are not. The ones we did have got taken out in the big one, but here we go. The laps are winding down here at Bristol. We are inside of 20 laps to go. And Isabella Fitzmaurice is trying to run down the 26 of Duncan Ward to try to prevent him from the three-peat. He'd become the first amateur driver to do so, and the second LSCI driver to do it. Of course, earlier this year, Mr. May, Jacob Lopez, won 3 races in a row in the Cup Series. Duncan Ward looking to replicate that feat and get his 4th win of the season, which would be an all-time record as well, and he will have done it in only half the season. He's starting to pull away from Isabella Fitzmaurice now. Fitzmaurice is starting to slide up the track. 15 laps to go. Fitzmaurice was closing for most of that first run, but that gap is starting to widen again as Duncan Ward's getting set in. And he's almost looking like another 26 car in an NR series. Fitzmaurice is hard into the wall. Up into the wall hard. The 75 of Fitzmaurice. She tried to push it too much. And I don't know if she's going to catch him after that stunt. I think now they're going to need a caution. I'd be very surprised if Fitzmaurice was able to get back up there after that. Not as much damage as it could have been, but she is losing time now. That gap is back over 2.1 seconds. I was going to say, Ward's reminding me of another 26 car in an NR series. Tyler Jericho in the Wawa National Series, who won on an incredible reign of terror in that series, and Duncan Ward is replicating that here in the Amateur Series. I'm just going to say, it's a good time to have 26 on your car in an NR series, but Fitzmaurice does still have time to catch him. It's just a matter of if she knocked all the speed out of that car by hitting the wall. I mean, she basically scraped the entirety of the turns 3 and 4 wall, but we will see. So we're now at 10 to go. Now 9 laps to go here at Bristol. Duncan Ward looking to put on another masterclass here. Isabella Fitzmaurice is not really gaining on him, but not really losing him either. So we will see if she can keep pace. Oh, she gained a ton of time that last time by. Maybe this one's not quite over yet, but Fitzmaurice still has to get there. But it's one thing to catch him. It's also another thing to pass him. So we will see if Fitzmaurice is able to rear up for another run at this 26 car. Didn't really gain any time that last lap, but I think she's running out of time. That wasn't a very good turns 1 and 2. That's not what she wanted. And Ward is looking very poised around this racetrack. 6 laps to go. 1.8 seconds the last time by. I think Fitzmaurice is going to run out of time. It might be another second place for that 75 car. They are clear ahead of Kasumi Takashi in 3rd place, and she is clear ahead of the battle for 4th between Dawson Lynn and Annie Baker. And Baker's going to take that spot from Dawson Lynn. Oh, Rallison up the racetrack. Side by side with the 43 of Bowser for position, but back up at the front, Duncan Ward coming to 3 laps to go here at Bristol. He is on another level in the LSCI Amateur Series, going for 3 in a row. Seven Hills Autosport trying to win half of the first 10 races. And Duncan Ward looking to break a record for the most Amateur Series wins in a single season in just 10 races. Fitzmaurice at this point is too far back to do anything. Coming off of turn 4, the white flag is in the air. 1 lap to go for Duncan Ward. Trying to make LSCI history and further extend that points lead. Coming through turns 3 and 4, it's win number 4 for Duncan Ward. He completes the three-peat, and Duncan Ward has won for the 4th time in the LSCI Amateur Series in just 10 races. Absolutely outstanding. Duncan Ward is on an otherworldly heater right now. He survived all the chaos. He got past Takashi on the restart, and from there, I wouldn't say he went unchallenged, because he definitely had a few swipes from Takashi and Fitzmaurice, but I mean, once he got out into that clean air, Duncan Ward just set sail. And it has been an unbelievable, otherworldly performance for Ward. And Ward did not even start up towards the front this time. This time he had to make his way up from mid-pack, find himself in the right position towards the end. And Takashi was gifted a great situation with 3 lap cars between herself and the leader. But she kind of threw it away there, let Duncan Ward get that lead, and man, I cannot state enough just how dominant Duncan Ward has been this season. We thought after the first 4 races that Kaylee Maxwell will be the driver to watch out for, but Duncan Ward has been on a tear the likes that we've ever seen. And I promise, this might be even more impressive than what Jacob Lopez did earlier this season, because this series is equal ratings. So it's absolutely impressive that Duncan Ward has managed to win 3 races in a row in an equal rating series, 4 of the first 10. In fact, he's won 4 of the last 6 races. And then one of those that he didn't win, he finished in 3rd. So Duncan Ward has, again, just been on an otherworldly tear right now. And I think it's fair to say that with his 3rd win, it's fair to say that he'd be competing for the championship, but win number 4 absolutely solidifies it. There's absolutely no way that he won't be competing for the championship in that final 3. And he's going to get a heaping amount of bonus points as well. So this just continues to look like Duncan Ward's year. Isabella Fitzmaurice, 2nd place again. Thought maybe she was going to have a chance there. She got it within a second, but that mistake at turns 3 and 4 ended up costing her. She just did not have the same speed after that. Kasumi Takashi finishes in 3rd, Annie Baker 4th, Dawson Lynn 5th, and then Oscar Duvall, Steve Brack, Latanya Gray, Spencer Rallison, Sky and Jetta round out the top 10. And then the last 4 cars to finish the race, Walter Bowser, Lance Holman, Mercedes Washington, and Jean-Martin Boucher. And here you see the 16 cars that got taken out in accidents in this race. There were 4 cautions. Of course, most of these retirements were from 1 accident. But a lot of stuff happening in Bristol, of course. This race is kind of a madhouse sometimes, and that's what we saw there in the first 2/3 of the race or so. But wow, what a drive, what a performance from Duncan Ward once again. And I think this is a name that we're going to be hearing in LSCI for a long time to come with the performance he's been putting up. And, he's already broken the single season wins record in only 10 races. He could go further. He could win 5 or 6 races this season, maybe even more. Who knows what the ceiling for Duncan Ward is. I mean, he's the first amateur driver to win 3 races in a row. And it's interesting that we've been having these winning streaks this season in both Cup and Amateurs, because it's not something that we normally see. But, I mean, sometimes you just get weeks where one guy and one team, one driver is just clicking on all cylinders, and that's what we're seeing from Duncan Ward right now. Absolute masterclass here at Duncan Ward. And next week, we're going to be going to Kentucky, and that's a race that Duncan Ward almost won last year, so we could very well see a 4-peat from Duncan Ward before this is over. But that's going to do it from today's broadcast here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Congratulations to Seven Hills Autosport and Duncan Ward on another win. And that will do it for today's broadcast. Thank you guys for watching. This is Brendan Wilmington, signing out.